Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The gradual beginning or coming forth. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. A process of becoming larger or longer or more numerous or more important. The growth of population. A progression from simpler to more complex forms. The growth of culture. Pathology. An abnormal proliferation of tissue, as in a tumor. Something grown or growing. A growth of hair. Vegetation that has grown. A growth of trees. The act of emerging. The gradual beginning or coming forth. Figurines presage the emergence of sculpture in Greece. The becoming visible. Not a day's difference between the emergence of the andrinas and the opening of the willow catkins. The act of coming, or going, out, becoming apparent. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. The gradual beginning or coming forth. A natural consequence of development. Processing a photosensitive material in order to make an image visible. The development and printing of his pictures took only 2 hours. The act of making some area of land or water more profitable or productive or useful. The development of Alaskan resources. A process in which something passes by degrees to a different stage, especially a more advanced or mature stage. The development of his ideas took many years. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. He proposed an indicator of osseous development in children. Act of improving by expanding or enlarging or refining. He congratulated them on their development of a plan to meet the emergency. A district that has been developed to serve some purpose. Such land is practical for small park developments. A recent event that has some relevance for the present situation. Recent developments in Iraq. A state in which things are improving. The result of developing, as in the early part of a game of chess. After he saw the latest development, he changed his mind and became a supporter. Music. The section of a composition or movement, especially in sonata form, where the major musical themes are developed and elaborated. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. Electronics. The production of semiconductor crystals by slow crystallization from the molten state. Relating to or suitable for growth. The growing season for corn. Coming to full development, becoming mature. Medicine. The formation of morbific matter in an abscess or a vesicle and the discharge of pus. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. The amount by which something increases. They proposed an increase of 15% in the fare. The act of increasing something. He gave me an increase in salary. A quantity that is added. A process of becoming larger or longer or more numerous or more important. The increase in unemployment. A change resulting in an increase. The increase is scheduled for next month. Become bigger or greater in amount. The amount of work increased. Make bigger or more. The boss finally increased her salary. The amount by which something increases. A process of becoming larger or longer or more numerous or more important. Serving to begin. The beginning canto of the poem. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. The Italian beginning of the Renaissance. The act of starting something. He was responsible for the beginning of negotiations. The event consisting of the start of something. The beginning of the war. The first part or section of something. It was a dark and stormy night, is a hackneyed beginning for a story. A process occurring in living organisms. A process occurring in living organisms. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. A bony process. A writ issued by authority of law. Usually compels the defendant's attendance in a civil suit. Failure to appear results in a default judgment against the defendant. Shape, form, or improve a material. Process iron. Deliver a warrant or summons to someone. He was processed by the sheriff. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. Events now in process. Institute legal proceedings against. File a suit against. He was warned that the district attorney would process him. March in a procession. They processed into the dining room. A particular course of action intended to achieve a result. It was a process of trial and error. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The process of thinking. A mental process that you are not directly aware of. The process of denial. Subject to a process or treatment, with the aim of readying for some purpose, improving, or remedying a condition. Process cheese. Deal with in a routine way. Process alone. Perform mathematical and logical operations on data, according to programmed instructions in order to obtain the required information. The results of the elections were still being processed when he gave his acceptance speech. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. Biology. The sequence of events involved in the evolutionary development of a species or taxonomic group of organisms. A process in which something passes by degrees to a different stage, especially a more advanced or mature stage. The evolution of Greek civilization. Impairment of normal physiological function affecting part or all of an organism. Any unwholesome or desperate condition. Impairment of normal physiological function affecting part or all of an organism. Impairment of normal physiological function affecting part or all of an organism. The state that precedes vomiting. Defectiveness or unsoundness. Drugs have become a sickness they cannot cure. Impairment of normal physiological function affecting part or all of an organism. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. The goal intended to be attained, and which is believed to be attainable. The sole object of her trip was to see her children. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. It was full of rackets, balls and other objects. Be averse to or express disapproval of. My wife objects to modern furniture. Computing. A discrete item that provides a description of virtually anything known to a computer. In object-oriented programming, objects include data and define its status, its methods of operation and how it interacts with other objects. Express or raise an objection or protest or criticism or express dissent. She never objected to the amount of work her boss charged her with. Grammar. A constituent that is acted upon. The object of the verb. The focus of cognitions or feelings. Objects of thought. Botany. A living organism lacking the power of locomotion. All the plant life in a particular region or period. The flora of Southern California. All the plant life in a particular region or period. Pleistocene vegetation. An abnormal growth or excrescence, especially a warty excrescence on the valves of the heart. Inactivity that is passive and monotonous, comparable to the inactivity of plant life. Their holiday was spent in sleep and vegetation. The process of growth in plants. The branch of biology that studies plants. All the plant life in a particular region or period. The botany of China. Get up and out of bed. An increase in cost. They asked for a 10% rise in rates. Return from the dead. Christ is risen. Theology. The origination of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. A movement upward. They cheered the rise of the hot air balloon. Rise up. Increase in volume. Come up, of celestial bodies. The sun also rises. The amount of salary is increased. The act of changing location in an upward direction. Go up or advance. A wave that lifts the surface of the water or ground. Move to a better position in life or to a better job. Rise in rank or status. Come into existence. Take on form or shape. Increase in value or to a higher point. An upward slope or grade, as in a road. The car couldn't make it up the rise. Take part in a rebellion. Renounce a former allegiance. The property possessed by a slope or surface that rises. Increase in price or value. Become more extreme. Come to the surface. Move upward. Rise to one's feet. A growth in strength or number or importance. Exert oneself to meet a challenge. Rise to a challenge. The state of cohering or sticking together. Botany. the process in some plants of parts growing together that are usually separate, such as petals. Physics, the intermolecular force that holds together the molecules in a solid or liquid. A particular society at a particular time and place. A highly developed state of perfection, having a flawless or impeccable quality. All the knowledge and values shared by a society. Biology, the growing of microorganisms in a nutrient medium, such as gelatin or agar. The culture of cells in a petri dish. Grow in a special preparation. The attitudes and behavior that are characteristic of a particular social group or organization. The developing drug culture. The raising of plants or animals. The culture of oysters. The tastes in art and manners that are favored by a social group. The origin and development and variation of cells. The origin and development and variation of cells. The kind and number and arrangement of teeth, collectively, in a person or animal. The eruption through the gums of baby teeth.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.